The final game we'll talk about here, the Browns and the Colts were the real thriller, 39-38. The Cleveland wound up winning. It was funny.
Battle of the backups.
Yeah, it was funny. You had the turnover by P.J. Walker late in the fourth quarter on the game what turned out to be the game-winning drive. It looked like he had a strip sack. Indianapolis recovered. I actually went right over to the bathroom, and I'm in the bathroom. I hear Zach going like, "Uh-oh, it's coming back," or what do you say, illegal touching or illegal contact? Yeah. And I came out, and I didn't really hear what Zach said, and I saw on television. I'm like, wait a second. Browns had the ball on the 20-yard line. What's happening here? And it was really a torturous drive for Colts fans because you wind up having another couple penalties later on. It's 1st and goal from the 1-yard line. You stop them on second, stop them on third, and then just by a ball's length, you get into the end zone on 4th and goal with Kareem Hunt. A brutal loss for the Colts, who have been kind of a surprise team this year. They put up, we were talking about 38 points on what has been the best defense in football the first 6 weeks of the season. So there are positive takeaways, but just a tough loss for Indianapolis.
It's such a strange game, too. Like, you figure if the Colts are able to score 38 points against the Browns Walker and their backup quarterback, it's a runaway. I was impressed by the Browns, to say the least. This is a team where you look at, okay, this is defense that's very good, but probably won't score a lot of points. And they're able to score almost 40 with their backup QB on the road. I think it's an impressive win. Especially, nonetheless, like, I liked the Colts today. I thought they were in a good spot. I was sensing a bit of a hangover game from the Browns. You beat a big team at home, you come on the road, and that didn't happen.
They were dead. The Browns were dead. They were brought back to life a few times. I do think the penalty, by the way, the illegal contact on Amari Cooper was a good call. Like, that should have been a flag. I know Colts fans are going to be disappointed, but that was a penalty. It was just the way the rest of the drive transpired. I don't think it was a pass interference in the end zone.
It's funny how when Watson comes out, they proceed to score 40 points.
So, Ziggy, when you look at the Browns right now, the Deshaun Watson situation is really weird. You said Stefanski said that he rushed Watson back to playing.
Yeah, so this was a weird situation. Stefanski came out and said, I pushed Watson to play. I shouldn't have. But then it seems that Watson wanted to come back out later in the game, and Stefanski said no. But here's the thing. All of them are going to be tying themselves in knots in Cleveland for the following reason. Deshaun Watson has been terrible.
Oh, boy.
And I don't mean kind of bad.
Are you going to go where I'm thinking?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
So, like, Deshaun Watson, this game, he was 1 for 5 with 5 yards and an interception. And that was not his worst performance of the season, just because he got pulled out before he could do any more harm to this team. Like, he is terrible. But the Browns have no escape from Deshaun Watson, right? You look at his contract, and, like, they are tied to this guy for the next 3 years of cap hits of $64 million each. They probably can't afford that. So they have to look long and hard at extending him even more. Because if they want to cut him next offseason, they can with a $200 million get dead cap hit. So he is stuck on this team.
I'm not going to get on him too much for today if he's playing injured.
But when has he played good for them?
No, he hasn't really. He really hasn't played that well. But today is not the day where I'm going to go, okay, Deshaun Watson, like, we need to figure it out.
But this is the thing, right? Like, Deshaun Watson has not looked good in a Browns uniform at all. Right? Over how many games has he played with this team? Like 11 now? He's got 11 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Maybe it's 10, maybe it's 12. It's something around there with like 1,700 yards. The dude is just not a good quarterback. And they are stuck paying him like one of the best players in the NFL for years to come.
The Browns are one of the strangest 4-2 teams probably the strangest 4-2 team we have this season right now, or winning record team. With like some bad losses, a great win against San Francisco. The Pittsburgh game was like they probably should have won that game, but you guys had all the turnovers and defensive touchdowns. Just like I have no confidence in their offense to be able to go up and down the field, but their defense makes so many plays. Myles Garrett was not human today with the field goal block. He basically scored the touchdown in the strip sack in the end zone. Like, he did everything he could to win that game for Cleveland. So on one hand, you have a defense that can shut people down. I know the Colts scored a lot today, but for the most part, shut people down this year. It's just a matter of finding some sort of stability on offense. And Cleveland could very well be a team that can make a run in the playoffs. I don't trust the quarterback situation there, though. And I feel like that's a lot of the teams we've talked about today. Atlanta, I don't trust the quarterbacks. Who was the other one that we mentioned off the top? We talked about the Bucs a little bit too. I don't really trust anyone there. Like the Colts, there's a lot of teams that are going to get to the playoffs with quarterbacks that I just don't believe in.
What was the first game we brought up?
I was trying to think back. It was Baltimore. I was like, yeah, I trust
Oh,
Lamar.
right.
I trust Lamar.
It's funny. Today, Ziggy and I, in a span of about 3 minutes, I'd say, both took back future takes. Me with the NFC South champion Bucs, and Ziggy with the Deshaun Watson bounce back season.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're I wonder about this. If you're the Browns here, like, I don't know how you're supposed to approach the rest of the season, right? Like, they keep winning games. And some of these victories, like the victory today, I don't think was particularly good. Like beating the 49ers is a great victory, right? Even injured Joe Burrow, beating them 24-3, that's a great victory, right? Like this team keeps putting together good wins. I think you just have to ride it out, hope that the run game can put up 3 touchdowns every week like they did this week. Try and let Stefanski be creative and just let your run game and defense take you as far as they can go.
No, that's what you have to hope for.
Yeah, that's how they'd win games.
But they're also, if Watson, when Watson's healthy, he's going to play. I don't think there's any question about
No,
that.
I think Walker's better.
They
than
have
Watson.
to play him.
No, you have to play Watson. But if Watson plays well, Amari Cooper, like the receiving core isn't super talented, but it's good enough. Amari Cooper is a very good receiver.
Yeah, there's nothing that leads me to believe Watson's going to play well.
Does anyone on the Browns offense scare you though? I will like. Does Amari Cooper? He would be the one. I'm not really.
It was Nick Chubb.
It was Chubb.
It was Chubb.
But right now, the offense, I don't see anyone that I'm scared of. I think Cooper's very, very good.
I mean, you watch the end of that when Chubb went down. You watched the end of the game against the Steelers, and I was able to tell right away this team without Nick Chubb is going to have a tough time doing much. I just think I'm not a huge believer in them. Like you said, they were dead today. There's no way I was shocked
they were bailed out with a couple calls. And so, look, it should have been a penalty, the big ones. But, yeah, I mean, it's still, a win's a win. You take your wins.
Of course,
yeah. All you have to do is get in, and their defense is good enough to win games.
And they're 4-2.
They're kind of a little bit... Do you see a little bit? Nah, probably not. I was debating whether or not I see some of the Jets and the Browns, but, like, to a degree, I think the Browns are just a better version.
Browns are probably a little better than the Jets.
Yeah. What do you think of that, Ziggy? Close or...
It's... The thing about the Browns, I'll say this, there has to still be at least a little bit of hope that Deshaun Watson can return to the player he used to be.
Oh, that's what the whole season relies on.
Yeah. We haven't seen, I guess maybe that's equivalent to the Jets' hope, as misguided as it is, that Aaron Rodgers is going to return from that Achilles injury.
Well, that's insane.
But yeah, I mean, I'll tell you one player I think is really not getting enough attention in this Browns offense in all seriousness, Elijah Moore. He had one of maybe the play of the game for the Browns. They have like that 30-yard reception on 3rd and 10 when the Browns were backed up in the third quarter. Like he's one of those players who I want to keep an eye on because he's explosive. He's a really interesting player. And he's the sort of guy who, when you've got Amari Cooper and David Njoku as sort of like target hogs that can draw attention, he could absolutely do more than him, right? Philip Walker made a great pass to him. If we can see a few more of those, there's definitely something to be said for the Browns offense. It's just...
Yeah, and I know we've been a little down on sort of down on them during this segment, but to be fair to Cleveland, they just beat San Francisco with their backup quarterback playing and now found a way to win a game against Indianapolis with PJ Walker coming in unexpectedly. You still have to give them credit. Like winning this game it's a great win for Cleveland to go to 4-2 on the year right after the San Francisco game. Yeah, they're very much in the race, in the thick of things.
Especially to keep Baltimore 1-2.
Oh, yeah, with Baltimore. You're right there with Baltimore. So it's a great day for the Browns. And I mean, I know you're not happy for them, but like
we're sitting here 3-2 as well. I mean, we're sitting here 3-2 as well.
So yeah,
Can I ask one question about the Colts before we move on from this game?
Sure.
So the Colts had a lot of breakout performances today, right? Jonathan Taylor was back. Josh Downs looked really, really good. Gardner Minshew, I mean, I know he couldn't get it done, but he still put up 305 yards and 2 touchdowns on clearly the best defense in the league. If you're a Colts fan looking like the weak AFC South, is there any chance after this game? I know it was a tough loss. I know you're coming off back-to-back losses. Do you see any hope after what they were able to do today?
Oh, yeah. I think the Colts are a good football team. They should have won. They should be 4-3 right now. And we talked about at the top, they put up 38 points on the best defense in football.
I think the Colts have a lot of talent and are very solid and can make the playoffs. But it's just tough. You go back to the quarterback situation. I don't know Like you talk about Ritter and not trusting a QB. I don't know how much I can trust Gardner Minshew when it matters.
No, I don't. I don't. And it's going to come down to, does Jacksonville turn it on? And Jacksonville has been turning it up a little bit lately. I can see Jacksonville running away with the division, but I think the Colts, Titans, and Texans are very similar teams to me. So if as long as Jacksonville doesn't go up another notch, then yeah, like the Colts have been playing decent football for
good
the most
enough
part.
to probably win the AFC South.
Good enough. You look, they've lost 3 or 4, so I don't have a ton of faith in Indianapolis, but they're definitely still a team that should compete in the AFC South at least for a few more weeks.
Yeah.
Again, the schedule for all these teams are not that bad in this division. It's not a bad year for the AFC South. So we'll see what happens. The Richardson injury is just such a crusher because I think that with him, they could have had a chance as he got better game by game. But, right now, they are what they are. They're still figuring it out. I think Steichen has looked like a pretty good coach so far. So that's a win right there.